Death Spiral, the only anime podcast that is Yankee-coded and Gyaru-pilled. I'm Nate, saying the quiet part out loud. I like Gyarus. I don't know about you, Remy, but I like Gyarus.
I am amenable to Gyarus. I feel like saying I like Gyarus is, I don't know, there's something about that. Saying it.
Maybe there's a different way we can phrase it.
Yeah, you know.
Less objectivity.
I'm a Gyaru ally. How would that, yeah. Does that sound better?
I support Gyarus in any capacity that I can.
I want Gyarus to live their best life.
I want them to flourish. I want there to be many of them that I can continue to admire from a safe distance afar.
Okay, see, you're going backwards.
Oh,
you're
okay,
moving backwards now.
Okay, all right. So, and this may surprise you. I know that this is uncustomary of me, but I watched some anime this week. I don't know about you, but I dipped my toes into some animation from Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
hold on. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Oh.
We got to start the show as like we usually do. Nate, what are you sipping on?
Right now, I'm sipping on 2-day-old cold coffee.
That's when it gets really good. When you got some days on it.
Well, you know, it's like dry aging the coffee. You let the water evaporate out of it, and it concentrates the flavor down into like a super solution of coffee.
You know, what we used to do in the office was we would never get rid of the sludge at the bottom of the pot, right? At some point, it would kind of just form into the kind of a soup stock that would really bring an interesting, unique flavor to your morning coffee.
Well, on the last Friday of every month, the boss would bring in a pork shoulder and use it as a rub for barbecue. You know, that's how you get that real, that gritty flavor in there.
That sounds tasty as hell.
Tasty as hell.
Well, let me tell you what I'm sipping on. I made a special trip the other day, and I ended up buying, let's say, international snacks. I ended up picking up the 25th anniversary Ocean Bomb Luffy flavor.
Oh, you got that branded drink.
I got that branded drink. Now, there was, of course, a Sanji and a Zoro flavor as well, but they didn't sound as good to me. Do you want to take a guess at what Luffy tastes like?
Okay, so is it blue? You said blue was in the title, right?
Well, no, the drink is called Ocean Bomb.
Ocean Bomb?
Yeah.
Is it blue in color?
The liquid?
Yeah, the liquid.
No,
what color's the liquid, Remy?
The liquid is clear. It's a clear liquid.
Okay, that makes it a lot harder.
Like spinal fluid.
Yeah. I want to say that it's seawater flavored.
Salty?
Yeah, but, you know, with that distinct taste of, like, industrial runoff and gasoline and some trash and maybe, like, there's sand floating around at the bottom.
Oh, you mean Atlantic Ocean flavored?
Yes, excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, Japan being in the Pacific Ocean, they've had enough of Pacific Ocean water. They know what that tastes like. It only makes sense that they would make a specialty flavor based off of Atlantic Ocean water, which is where the One Piece takes place, right? That's where One Piece takes place, in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, like Master and Commander, kind of around there, the Master and Commander area.
Who would win in a fight, the French Navy or Luffy?
Well, Russell Crowe would beat both of them.
Well, he had... Do you remember the subplot of that movie about how Paul Bettany was like basically Charles Darwin with the serial numbers filed off?
Do I remember it? That's the best part. He does surgery on himself.
It's pretty cool. He cuts off his own leg. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, it fucking rules. That movie rules. And also, there's like 14 of those books, and almost all of them are good.
Have you read almost all of them?
I have. Like I said, there's 14 of them. How many lifetimes would I have to live to read 14 books? Come on.
In English, no less.
Let's be realistic.
Okay. What is the flavor?
Luffy is not ocean flavored. Luffy is, of course, sparkling yogurt flavored.
Well, what does yogurt taste like when it's sparkling?
Well, pour a White Claw into one of your, Greek yogurt containers you've got in your fridge right now, and just spoon that bad boy.
Okay, hold on. Oh, it's chunky. This isn't working out well.
You're going to want to mash it up. You're gonna want to really mush it up good.
Okay, hold on. I gotta get a whisk. I gotta get a whisk.
Yeah, whisk it up. Make sure it doesn't turn into whipped cream though.
Oh no! Now it's separated, and there's a viscous like gel kind of floating at the top, and kind of like a murky brown liquid forming at the bottom. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe some kind of oxidization. I'm gonna come back to this one. But how does the Luffy drink taste?
Well, they say caramel was invented on accident. So
Who says that?
I think the caramel people say that. This doesn't taste like caramel. This tastes like. I mean, it really does taste like a yogurt. Maybe kind of one of the more
Okay, you keep saying that, but what
pop
do you mean?
culture yogurts, like a Yoplait.
Like a Yoplait, like a Go-Gurt? Does it taste like a Go-Gurt?
A little bit like a Go-Gurt, but if you dialed back the fruit flavor of a Go-Gurt,
Okay,
it tastes kind of like that.
Is this like a sparkling Yakult?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of
Yeah.
is. Obviously,
Okay.
we don't have the cream. There's no cream in the can. But you get the flavor does come through. I have to say, it's really weird.
Did they have any other character flavors there?
Well, like I said, they have Zoro and Sanji there. I didn't see any Chopper or Nami or Usopp, Frankie, the rest.
Oh man, what flavor? What flavor do you think Usopp is? Gunpowder?
Dirt.
Yeah, dirt. It's just orange. It's just orange soda.
Yeah, you know what? Like an orange soda would be fine, I guess. The Zoro was like cucumber flavor, I think. So
That actually is pretty appetizing. I do love a cucumber soda.
I like it if you got a little gin in there. Then you're really sailing.
Oh well, sure. That's the number one combination.
Yeah.
You ever have a little? What was that? There is a soda that they used to sell at the Safeway near me called Mr. Q. You ever have that?
Mr. Q.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody drink that on its own. I think that is a mixing ingredient.
Yeah, it's exclusively for mixing with gin.
Were you just drinking those bad boys on their own?
Well, I mean, I would take a shot of gin and then down one of those and then take 2 shots of gin and then, maybe another shot of gin and then have another Mr. Q.
The very advanced mouth-washing style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, speaking of mouth-washing, have you played that game yet?
No, I have only played Magic and Ghost Trick. I've been playing a little Ghost Trick, which is anime.
Wait, what's Ghost Trick?
Ghost Trick is a sort of puzzle game, visual novel-y kind of puzzle game. It came out a while back, and they released an updated version for the PlayStation. It came out in 2010, I think, for, I want to say, phones? Maybe?
Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective.
Yes, Phantom Detective. I believe it did come out, like, on smartphones originally.
And a Nintendo DS release.
And a DS release. It makes sense for a DS release because there's a lot of like touching and dragging and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it's just like a Professor Layton kind of thing, puzzle game, visual novel.
No, it's more involved than that. There's not like counting matchsticks. I do believe it is from the creator of Ace Attorney.
Okay.
So we've got, as far as like kind of comedy, like sense of humor and a little bit of the art style as well. We're coming from a Phoenix Wright direction, which is good. It's fun. You play as a dead guy who is determined to solve his own murder. And he does that by moving his soul around and possessing objects within an environment. And you sort of use the objects to solve an environmental puzzle that will progress the story.
Okay. Kind of like Prey 2008 had a very similar mechanic of being able to ghost possess enemies and objects to solve puzzles.
Yes, there's been a few different games where you can do ghost type stuff, possessing an item and wiggling it around or whatever. Because that's kind of what you're doing here. You will possess a fan to turn it on so that it blows a flag, and then you'll possess the flag as it rises up the flagpole, and then you can jump off the flagpole to a crane, and then you can possess the crane to like swing an item around and drop it or something like that. You kind of that kind of thing, you know.
Okay.
And it's very good and it's very fun. It's very endearing and cute. There's a really weird part where a character is introduced and he's just doing Michael Jackson dances just all the time. Every time he's on screen.
You know, I feel like that is just that's becoming a staple character in a lot of video games. Just the random Michael Jackson guy, right?
Yeah, I know. I did notice that in another game.
Well, the big one for me is Yakuza 0. Just straight up has a Michael Jackson in it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't thinking of that.
And
but
you have to help him make a Thriller video.
Yes, that's super weird. Yeah, this character, he's like dressed as Michael Jackson from the Beat It video.
Okay.
The white suit, you know?
Yeah, with the red and everything.
Yeah, which looks cool. I mean, if we can divorce ourselves from all the other stuff, we got to admit it. It does look cool.
Well, I mean, that is there's no argument there that Michael Jackson had style.
You got to hand it to him.
Yeah. It's like, come on. The guy did Thriller.
Yeah. It is strange, you know, when that kind of stuff pops up. Like, I did my whole Dan to Dan reread, and there are quite a few incidental characters in Dan to Dan who are just like pop stars,
like real world pop stars.
Yes, like there is a character in, not to spoil anything, but there is a second boy introduced in Dan to Dan. There's a second boy.
I don't think that's a surprise to anybody considering he's in the opening credits.
Yes, that's true. He is in the opening credits. This is why my friend says she will not watch opening credits because they're too spoilery.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can see that. I want to touch on that actually because that is
really
something. Yeah, that's something I agree with. Now that I think about it, a lot of the time, opening like animation can be pretty spoiler heavy. Case in point, the opening credit for Stone Ocean, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean. Yeah. Well, amazing, and I love that song, and I love that first opening quite a bit. It does literally it's just snapshots of all the major plot points in the season.
Oh, yeah.
Up until the end.
Well, do you remember the Phantom Blood reboot? I mean, has one of the best openers of the entire JoJo
I love
series.
all of the JoJo openers.
They're
I
all
love
very good.
all of them dearly.
But the opener for Phantom Blood, the remake, tells the entire story of JoJo.
Yeah.
All the JoJos, not even just the Phantom Blood one. It tells the entire story of the entire series, which is kind
and
of
amazing,
incredibly bold.
Yeah.
It's a bold move. I like it, but that's because I've read all of JoJo, so I'm not worried. Also, man, when the JoJo opener changes near the back end, the back third, to include the Dio time stop.
That is probably my favorite. It's definitely my favorite scene in all of Stone Ocean anime, and probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire like Studio David production up until that point, because the way they go through the ages and do the entire when Roundabout, when the tones start playing and it hits, because they haven't done Roundabout since Battle Tendency. Like, it hits you so hard. Like, I cried a little bit. I got a little teary-eyed.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I saw Pat Metheny play, and he played a little bit of Roundabout in a sort of medley.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, he played a bunch of stuff from like across a few different albums, and in some are nestled in the middle. He played a couple riffs of the Roundabout kind of main theme, and then he told a story after that. He played that whole song, and somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, you didn't play Roundabout," and he got very mad. He was very mad at that person.
You didn't play the JoJo part of Roundabout.
I honestly, when he told the story, I kind of thought, was that a JoJo guy?
Was that a JoJo reference?
Do you think maybe that was a JoJo reference? Did that random asshole walk up and be like, hey, I just wanted to hear I came to a Pat Metheny show just to hear a JoJo song. That's how dedicated I am.
I wouldn't put it past this particular person.
Then he would have been very disappointed. I can only imagine his disappointment because Metheny's not really interested in playing old stuff. It was a great show. He brought out like 80 different guitars, all like custom modded to create these really weird sounds.
He's got like the big dollar sign shaped guitar, and he's got the one that's, like a hand throwing up the devil horns. He's got the 5-neck guitar.
Well, legit, he had a baritone guitar. It's not the strangest guitar, but...
You mean a bass?
No, it's not a bass. It is a baritone guitar, which really blew my mind because you don't really see those. It's very cool show. Very cool show. At the end, he played with accompaniment by a massive like Rube Goldberg machine, which again really blew my mind. I'd never seen anything like that before.
You're burying the lead here. You should have started with that. He plays music with a Rube Goldberg machine?
Yeah, he does. I'd
That's
never seen
amazing.
anything like that.
It's incredible. Like the most amazing show in existence.
Pat Metheny alone is one of the greatest guitarists ever. And then to have him also accompanied by like 18 different drinky birds all playing bells and whistles, like it's pretty amazing. But Dan. Anyway, in the introduction of the second boy, there's a bunch of incidental characters, and one of them is an old woman who is just late career James Brown.
Wait, an old Japanese woman, but is James Brown?
Yes, she is portrayed as James Brown. And in fact, there are a couple moments where she sings a couple bars from Sex Machine. And also, she's the one who has the Jennifer Lopez special move.
Okay.
Which is just really strange. Dan is weird.
Dan kicks ass so much. I love it so much.
It does roll. I really like it. Did you cry at the Acro Silky backstory episode? Were you in tears?
Oh, I cry every time.
You cry every time?
Yeah.
You've watched that episode multiple times to cry, just to feel something?
Just to feel anything. It's been a tough year so far. It does good to embrace nihilism a little bit.
I saw people talking about it, saying, "Oh my God, it's so emotional," and I don't disagree. I think it's
well. I was one of those people. I texted you after I watched that episode, and you were like, "Well, what do you expect? It's a ghost." They have sad stories.
It's a goddamn ghost, dog. Like they're hanging around because they have regrets about their life. That's the whole deal. But I thought it was funny, not to diminish anyone's emotional attachment to the Dan ghost backstories. They're very good. I think Yokinobu Tatsu has a particular talent for writing sob stories, little tearjerkers. And I thought it was very funny that in the manga, of course, Acro Silky's backstory is 2 pages. And they did an entire fucking episode about it. They really mined it hard.
I had a feeling. I just got through that part in the manga a few days ago.
Oh yeah.
I've been catching up. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself until the season of the anime is over.
Sure.
Just because I'm enjoying it, watching Science Saru do its thing so much.
Yeah.
But once the season's over, then I'll really ramp up and get to the end or catch up.
Sure. I'm constantly interested in how far they're going to be able to go. I hope we make it through a couple more Joe Bros.
Well, it seems like we're going at a pace of about 3 to 4, maybe if they're short, sometimes 5 chapters per episode. I think that they're definitely maximizing their time really well with the way they're adapting these stories or these chapters, because it feels totally like the flow of the story so far feels correct, while objectively being a little bit more truncated than what we get in the manga, right? Like they've definitely edited down some stuff, but then add in a whole bunch of flavor, which I'm here for.
Yeah, they're taking some liberties, which I appreciate. Like I said, that this sob story is like 2 pages in the manga, and they stretched it out to a whole episode, which is fine. But the other thing that I found very funny about everybody talking about that online is that this is by far the least tragic backstory we get over the course of Dan to Dan. Shit is so much worse than that. So much worse.
We're in for it, folks. Oh, you think this was my saddest form?
Yeah, we're talking about like war crimes level shit happening to people out here, man. So like,
okay, but does Okarun get his balls back?
You know, they're the people's balls now. There's a whole community that has formed around these balls. I don't feel like Okarun can really take ownership of them anymore, you know?
It's hard to get famous for something like that. You can't really live it down, right? Even if you turn into like a cool badass ghost hybrid, you're still the guy that doesn't have any balls.
Yeah, you're still the guy who lost his balls.
To a fucking ghost.
Yeah, it's better to lose your balls to a ghost than like to shooting a subpar Thrasher video. Like trying to fucking like ollie over some stairs, and now you're like the one nut guy.
Epic fails of skateboarding.
Yeah, here's the real question about his balls though. What would you rather have? Your balls or friends? That's the dilemma. That's the real dilemma of Dan to Dan.
Well, do I have superpowers if I have friends and no balls?
Yeah. No, you don't have superpowers if you have balls. You only have superpowers if you have friends.
But okay. Then yeah, friends and superpowers.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's probably the obvious choice for most people.
Well, you would hope it is, but I can definitely envision a kind of guy that would say, no, I'm using these.
Hey, I don't want to get castrated.
What a loser, right? Doesn't want to get castrated for superpowers.
Hey, you know, me personally, I could take them or leave them. I'm not that invested.
Now, I am glad that you brought up Dan to Dan because obviously it's been going gangbusters. Everybody loves Dan to Dan. Number 1 show of the season.
Everybody loves Dan to Dan.
Everybody loves Dan to Dan.
Everybody loves Dan to Dan.
And obviously we have had no shortage of praise for Science Saru on this show. They are, in fact, one of the GOATs. They're doing the best animation there is out there right now, in my opinion. So this week I decided to look back. Actually, no, I should watch Look Back. Now that's available out of theaters.
You haven't watched Look Back?
I haven't watched Look Back yet. I know. I got to get on it.
God damn it.
What I did watch was some early Masaki Yuasa Science Saru productions. I watched, let's start with Ping-pong the Animation.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Have you watched
Classic. Like, that was like...
this is an older one, yeah.
Yeah, hey, fellas. Did you think Naruto was the be-all, end-all of anime? Check this shit out. It's a show about ping pong. And then you watch it and you're like, damn, anime.
No, but you say that it's a show about ping pong, but damn, is it a show about ping pong? Like,
there's a lot of ping pong in that.
Well, it's pulling off something that I think has been traditionally hard to do in visual media, which is making ping pong look like a cool thing that's worthy of respect and attention, which it isn't in its natural form. Like, if you see a ping pong player just out in the wild, like in the real world, you have nothing but disdain and disgust for that person, right?
I'm not sure I would react that viscerally.
You say, hey, look at the tiny pickleball player. Isn't he foolish?
Now, if you're saying pickleball, okay, now we're in different territory.
I don't know. That's my reaction. That's how I talk to ping pong players in the real world.
The ping pong players aren't taking up the tennis courts.
But Studio Science Saru and Yuasa, he actually made it look like something kind of cool and badass. If you don't know what we're talking about, go look up just like some stills of this show, because the art is definitely probably my favorite thing about it. I don't know how you would describe it. It's like anti-anime in some ways. It's weird and sketchy and blobby, and like kind of ugly in a lot of places. It's very interpretive.
How dare you?
No,
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's amazing, but I think that
It's my beautiful ping pong son.
get away from my beautiful ping pong son. No, I think that it's embracing that characters have like weird faces and I don't know. It doesn't do the traditional anime face, right? It doesn't have the big eyes. Or like the same face thing where everyone is kind of like just copy pasted versions of each other with different colored hair. The characters are distinctive and characteristic. They have weird haircuts. They have different face shapes. They move in different ways. Like each character, the way they move has personality attributed to them, which is one of Science Saru's strongest qualities as a production house, is their ability to like make animation feel alive in a way that's not just a product on a screen. Does that make sense?
Damn, bro's spitting over here.
I'm very, very impressed by Ping Pong the animation, and I'm really kicking myself for holding off on watching it until now.
Yeah, now you should move on to like the real goats like Kaiba and Kemonozume. That shit that fucking goes.
I mean, I've seen some Kaiba, and that also is real beautiful looking.
Real beautiful looking. That's the best anime. That's the best one.
Well, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves and make
that's the
vast
best
declarative
one.
Statements.
I can do that. I can do that right now. Kaiba is the best anime. Period.
I don't know how you can say that when Madoka Magica exists.
I don't want to think about Madoka right now. Come on. I don't want to think about Michael Jackson and Madoka Magica right now. Come on.
Too soon?
Too late. There was a time and a place, and that time and place was 2006. And now we are long gone. Long gone.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm just I checked out the first episode of Ping Pong, and it's really beautiful, and everyone should go check it out. And then I went and watched another Masaaki Yuasa early production. This was actually before the founding of Science Saru. This is when...
Let's say it at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Tatami
Time
Galaxy.
Machine.
Oh. Well, close. We're in the same ballpark. No, I watched the first episode of the Tatami Galaxy. I think Tatami Time Machine...
You went for Galaxy.
...is an OVA spin-off. Spin-off? I don't know. Side production.
It's just a connected work.
Yeah, connected work. Well,
part of the Tatami cinematic universe.
Well, it is actually the Tatami Time Machine and The Night is Short, Walk On Girl.
Yes.
Are actually all based off of a triptych of novels that Yuasa was a huge fan of and wanted to adapt for ages and ages. That's actually why there was such a huge time gap between doing the Tatami series and being able to produce Walk On. I think there was like a 7-year gap between those.
Well, it's also hard to convince people to pay you massive amounts of money to make an anime about an obscure novel with no cool psychic battles in it or like demons or anything.
Listen, it's about a battle of love. What is more important or compelling than that, Remy? Tell me.
Yeah, but there's not like 6 waifus that you're battling over. It's like just...
No, it's one guy battling for one waifu. He's a waifu guy.
He's a real waifu guy.
Well, okay, how about I say... I'll talk about Tatami Galaxy, and then you can tell me about Tatami Time Machine, because...
Well, it's just more...
It's just more of that. Well, Tatami Galaxy is... I watched Walk On Girl, The Night is Short first. I watched that a couple of years ago and was like, wow, that was amazing. That was one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. I wish there was more of that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And then
it's incredible.
Didn't even realize at the time that it was a sequel to this anime series made several years before. But it essentially features all of the same characters and motifs. It's about an unnamed college student who is, let's be honest, kind of a loser to start off with. The first episode is, centered around this relationship that he starts up with a fellow student that he meets in his tennis club, a student named Ozu. And together they form a bond over being disdainful and resentful of other people's loving relationships. And so they form a pact to go around from couple to couple whenever they see them in college and try and break them up or ruin the mood or basically just be an asshole to them in some way. As revenge for all the girls that never talked to them in middle school. Real incel shit.
If you're looking for good date ideas, this is one you should consider.
Listen, is there not a stronger brotherly bond between two men than hating on people in a committed relationship?
The Proud Boys would say no.
And so, he has, throughout the episode, we kind of get this perspective of him being in love with this other unnamed student, a female student, and him being in conflict with these feelings of like, wow, I really want to ask her out. But if I ask her out, then, I'm betraying my incel bond with this other guy.
Yeah, which is the lamest, fakest, conflict that could ever exist. Fuck that dude.
Fuck that dude.
Go get her, dude. Who fucking cares?
And so this obviously is very concerning to him, and he's brooding when he, while eating ramen at a ramen cart, runs into the local god of matchmaking, who tells him that he's heard his prayers and he's decided that he's going to grant the love of this woman to either him or his horrible incel friend.
Ugh.
It's going to be one of the two of them, and they gotta figure out who's it's going to be. And so, obviously, after much deliberating, he decides, well, fuck that guy. I want to date this chick. And so he goes to the matchmaking god and says, fuck that guy. I want to date this chick. And he's like, all right.
Absolutely.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. You and Ozu are going to walk across this bridge at the same time during this festival, and this chick is going to be walking from the other direction, and all you have to do is strike up a conversation with her and be friendly, and she's yours. And he's like, well, I can't do that. I can't just casually talk to a woman. I'm not some playboy. And so, the fated time comes, and they walk across the bridge, and he can't do it. He just cannot strike up any kind of friendly conversation with this lady.
Sure.
And just as he's about to give up on everything, the god of matchmaking comes in. He's like, all right, well, I guess she's going to the other guy. At which point the festival-going crowd that's on the bridge with them recognizes these two as the two assholes that have been going around, trolling all the couples and being mean and kicking sand in their boyfriends' faces. And the crowd tosses them off the bridge into the raging river, and they both die.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff.
It's pretty good. And I was pretty satisfied with that ending until...
Oh, there's more?
Yeah, there's just a little bit more until time rewinds and we go all the way back to the beginning of the episode, and we realize that going forward, each episode is going to be an alternate timeline based off of which club this loser decides to join at the start of the year. So in this first episode, he meets Ozu by joining the tennis club.
Correct.
Next episode, he is going to be joining the writing club. And I look forward to seeing what kind of weird incel trickery he gets up to there. I assume he's going to continue the incel stuff into this incarnation.
Definitely. He's got to stay at incel, of course. That's that's destiny. And the anti-tennis bias is real, though. This is really I 100% disagree with that choice. Tennis is good.
You think he was right for joining the tennis club?
Yeah, don't join the writing club. No writer has ever benefited from being around other writers. They're all assholes, man. You don't want to hang out with those guys.
A generation of Irish novelists would agree with you. But yeah, again, amazing art style. I cannot express how beautiful the art style of this and Walk On Girl is. It's kind of this, I don't know, like watercolor filling in kind of like hand-drawn sketchy backgrounds, but then the characters themselves are very stylized and almost look like paper cutouts against the backgrounds. You know, they have like these pure white bodies and hair and almost look like...
Okay, all right, hold on. Okay. Calm down.
I'm starting to say they look like paper cutouts. I'm not trying to... Yeah, all right.
Okay. All right. Well, look, now that you're on this path, it's great because you've got a lot of ground to cover. You need to be watching Kevin Ozume. You need to be watching Inuo. You should be getting on that like as fast as fucking possible. That one's a fucking rock opera. It's fucking incredible.
I've seen the trailer for that one. That's the rock opera about the guy with the shamisen.
Yes, incredible work. You go back, rewatch Cat Soup. You should watch Mind Game. Go watch that Adventure Time episode he did. Just get it done.
Oh, I watched that probably more than any other of his catalog's entry. I love that. Yeah. The Circle of Life episode.
Yes. Well, that's The Lion King. He did Food Chain, but sure.
Yeah. Food Chain.
Mufasa coming to theaters next year.
Hey, Donald Glover needs a paycheck. I assume he's also doing Mufasa's voice. God, no, that's probably going to be they're going to use the James Earl Jones AI bot for that one, right?
The Jones bot?
Yeah, bring out the Jones bot.
J3 Jones. Everybody go out there, be a Masaki Yuasa completionist. He is the best to ever do it, except for maybe a couple other people. I dabbled around with a little bit of anime myself.
Oh, well, that's good to hear.
This last week,
yeah,
I might have dived in. You know, after maybe not being disappointed. Disappointed is too strong a word. Maybe being caught unawares by the fact that there was more Arcane than the 3 episodes I watched.
Oh, did they release the whole season?
But they weren't released yet. No, they're releasing it. They're doing a staggered release.
I see.
So I kind of thought, oh, good, I'm done watching Arcane. This is good. Great. And then I got to the very end of the last episode and was like, hey, wait a second. This is like the worst ending ever if this is the end of the... Oh, there's more. Oh, okay, I see.
Oh, no,
but it wasn't out yet, so I decided to do it. Oh, God, no, there's fucking more of this. I did finish Penguin, which is not an anime, but I will say there's nothing particularly interesting to say about the Penguin, except for the last shot of the entire series is the bat signal going on.
Okay.
So that's something.
All right. So, I mean, is that implying that we're going to get a Batman encounter are we getting a Penguin season 2, or is this a one-time thing?
I feel like it's probably a one-time thing. I would imagine they're not going to do more Penguin, you know? Like, why would they? So the setup is that the Penguin is like, he wins, basically. Mm-hmm. He gets Sofia Falcone thrown back into Arkham. Sorry that I'm spoiling this, but frankly, there's no reason to watch this. Like, it doesn't matter. He kills his one henchman to prove that he's a bad guy. And then he's like looking out of the window of his penthouse and he's like, I won. Nobody can stop me now. And then the bat signal turns on. It's like the most ham-fisted bullshit. It's you got it grown out of me. But I finished that.
Well, they had to remind people that Batman was like, this series was actually about Batman, right?
Hey, there's Batman. Batman's here.
You can't lampshade around calling him the Penguin the entire time. It's like, oh, it's Ozzy. Yeah. Ozzy Cobblepot. No, he's the fucking...
Ozzy Cobb. They call him Oz Cobb. They call him Ozzy Cobb.
Ozzy Cobb.
Oz Cobb. Ozcab. Oh, good old Ozcab.
Ozcab. No, it's a fucking Batman series. You need a guy in a bat suit punching Colin Farrell in the penguin suit. And by which I mean, yes, he needs to dress like a penguin, like the Bird. And he needs to have the machine gun umbrella, which I bet he didn't have in this series. He didn't have no machine gun umbrella.
No, he did not. He didn't even have an umbrella.
He didn't even have one umbrella.
Not even one umbrella.
This sounds like the worst fucking show of all time.
It wasn't the worst, but I did feel a little bit disappointed by, like, why did I watch this? The only thing they really did, they never said Batman, never came up. But in the last couple of scenes, they do mention Selena Kyle in the context that she is apparently Sophia Falcone's half sister. So that was our season 2 setup.
Okay. All right.
I could not care less about that plot line. Who cares?
I have to wonder if we're getting another, how much more in this Batverse we're getting. The, oh God, what's his name? From Harry Potter and Twilight. Robert Pattinson.
Pattinverse.
Yeah, the Battenverse. How much more are we going to get in here, right? What else can they do? Because it seems like they're so hell-bent on leaning away from, like, the whole Batman thing. You know, they're trying to capture what made that first Joker movie popular, I guess, where it's just kind of like a self-contained thing, and they just kind of hinted it being a Batman thing the entire time. I don't know if that's a sustainable vibe.
Thomas Wayne is in that movie.
Well, yeah, and so is little Bruce. You see him, and you see.
Yeah, it's like.
Well, they do the exact same fucking thing, right? As the bat signal shot. The last scene in Joker is, or one of the last scenes, like before it goes to. Cuts to him in the insane asylum again is the Waynes walking into the alley while Joe Chill follows them with a gun in his hand.
It's so bad. That's so bad. That sucks so bad, dude. I hate Batman. I think Batman sucks. Maybe Batman just sucks.
Batman is stupid.
Batman might be just stupid. I don't know. This whole fucking crop of Batman recently has really turned me. I gotta say. I'm feeling bad about Batman.
How do we kill the Batman?
But that's not the point. That was not the point. The point is I ran out of that stuff to watch.
Oh, okay.
So I went back and I did a thing that I've done a couple of times since we started this show, where I decided to revisit Orb. Do you remember me talking about Orb? It's the anime about heliocentrism.
Yes. Oh, yes. The anime about the young scientist and he's trying to hide his heliocentrism from the local clergy, right?
Young boy hides heliocentrism. Yeah, I mean, yes, sort of. The big surprise for me and what I kind of pushed me forward. Just maybe purely just out of surprise, and I'm sorry if this is again a little bit of a spoiler, but that kid, he fucking kills himself like episode 3.
Oh, well, that's not gonna put the sun at the center of the universe.
It's intense, man. I was like getting invested. I was like, man, how is this heliocentric child gonna get out of this one? And then it turns out, no, he's not.
He doesn't.
He is not gonna get out of this one.
That time I was persecuted for heliocentrism and then reincarnated on the sun as a sun god.
He, the thing is, like, he does.
That's the name of the light novel.
So the whole thing is like, it turns out that this is really what the series is about, right? The idea is not that the child is going to prove heliocentrism or that anyone is going to prove heliocentrism. What is revealed by the child killing himself is that the series is about the passing of knowledge forward into the future, right? So that humanity like builds on itself. It's like a very grandiose idea, but I like it. So the idea being that heliocentrism is not necessarily the most important part of this. It's just that the idea that as time passes, generation to generation, we seek the truth, and it passes from, the hands of stranger to stranger who are all united in this sort of like grand cosmic search for the meaning of everything. And that's why it has like religion as a background.
And
Nate? Okay. Sorry, guys. It looks like Nate broke down again. Let's take a quick break so I can turn him off and turn him back on again, see if that fixes anything. Okay, just a sec. Nate, wake up. Wake up.
Okay. All right. I'm back. Okay. Sorry. Where were we?
I don't know. What was the last thing I said when you were...
What were we talking about? We were talking about the heliocentrism anime.
Oh, I'm so off. I'm so throw off that I have no idea what I was even saying. Heliocentrism. That's cool. That's a cool thing, don't you think?
Yeah, no, it's pretty sweet. When we have the sun right at the center, kind of keeping everything regular, like that big planetary fiber.
Can you believe how fucking stupid people were? They thought the sun wasn't the center of the galaxy. Oh my God.
Seems a bit stuck up to put the Earth at the center, right? Like, come on. Don't think so highly of yourself.
That's crazy. Like, how could you ever even think that?
If I was a god and I put the sun at the center, and then the people on the planet were like, no, actually, we're at the center. That's wrong. I would be so fucking pissed. I'd be so fucking pissed.
Do you think that's why their lives were so bad? Maybe
Absolutely.
That's why.
Yeah.
God was like, I am punishing you because you're so stupid.
Lives back then sucked because we were too stupid to figure out the very easy and obvious instructions and gameplay mechanics God put on this planet.
Yeah. Okay, you're a 13th century Polish peasant. You're like, God put us on this earth to suffer. And God's like, no, you fucking idiot. You're supposed to solve the puzzle I made. Read the fucking directions, assholes. And they're all like, no, life is supposed to be bad.
It wouldn't be so funny if it wasn't like so relatable to watching other people play games sometimes.
Well, it is definitely a drag. I really like, I guess that was what I was getting to, is that I ended up really liking Orb, and not all of the seasons out yet, but I did find something in it that I thought was really good.
Wait, hold on. Is the sun the orb?
Well, the Earth is the orb.
Oh.
I think.
Well, the sun's also an orb. The sun's a bigger orb.
I'm not sure, because I don't speak Japanese. I think in Japanese, maybe there's some kind of, I don't know, greater subtlety to the word, maybe.
Orb.
Well, they say it in the Japanese language, whatever the word is. I don't know. I don't know what they're saying. But I believe the word, much like how we say earth is interchangeable with like dirt a lot of the time.
Oh, okay, sure.
I think maybe earth is interchangeable with orb, possibly. I am just guessing. Please don't get mad at me.
When we make it into space, I'm going to start telling aliens that we came from planet Dirt.
I came from planet Orb, actually. I'm from Orb.
Hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from the round one. Yeah, one of them round ones back there.
Yeah. Well, when we find aliens, they are going to be like, gravity's different on our planet, so we're all cubed. We're all cubed up there.
Yeah, we got that cube gravity. It's great.
It's wild.
Real expensive. You couldn't afford it.
Yeah, you can fall off the side of the planet, and it's fun. We do it all the time. Okay.
We built a big park there. We do it all the time.
Wait, can I let me tell you about one other thing, because Orb is really depressing and sad, even if it's like fundamentally very interesting and cool.
Well, it's apparently about a little kid dying before solving science.
It is a little bit. A tiny part of Orb is about a little kid killing himself before getting tortured to death by the Polish church. So that part is a little bit of a drag, but it is fun. But I want to talk about something that is a drag and fun in a completely different way, just very briefly, because this really blew up parts of my brain. It unwrinkled sections of my brain reading this. I have previously talked about my complicated relationship with the mangaka Hiramoto Akira. Do you remember this guy?
The name is ringing a bell. What other works have you talked about from them?
This is the Prison School.
Prison School, yes.
Futari
yes.
Switch. Raw Hero.
Raw Hero. This guy.
Raw Hero. And the most baffling Me and the Devil Blues guy. He's done a lot of work.
What a catalog. What a weird catalog.
This guy is the weirdest catalog. And I say I really, really like Hiramoto Akira's work. I think his art is fantastic. I think he is a genuinely very funny artist. He can draw a joke, which is hard to do.
I agree with you. I feel like
it's difficult.
It's difficult because a lot of times in manga and anime, it feels like to me there's this recursive loop of manga that just looks like it's storyboarding for an anime adaptation, and then anime adaptations that are just only literally trying to translate what is on the page to what is on the screen.
Yeah.
And so, when you have an author, an artist that can craft a scene, that can craft a joke visually, it's a precious little egg that you have to hold on to and never let go of because it's too rare in this world.
It is too rare. It's like, hey, we all love Gary Larson, right? But like, even half of his gag comics are like wordplay. Mm-hmm. So,
half the joke is the caption.
Yeah. Cow tools.
I love it. I have a tattoo of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad tattoo. I can't lie. But I really like Hiramoto Akira. The way he can draw a funny picture is really nice and unique, especially when a lot of the supposed funny manga are mostly people just seeing a weird thing and then going, whoa, that's a weird thing.
Hey.
Which is not my favorite kind of humor.
Hey, that thing's kind of not how it's supposed to be.
Hey, have you noticed that a thing is weird?
Oh, I did notice that, yeah.
It's kind of strange. But in that space, I have also noticed, and if we've listened to more than a few episodes of this, you probably also noticed this. He is also, along with some of the other artists I think are actually like genuinely very funny, he's also like one of the horniest artists that has ever existed. This seems to be a trend.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one to reconcile because it feels like maybe it's a little bit harder for the horny ones out here these days.
Well, the fact that Hiramoto Akira has seemingly been canceled off of every single one of his projects before they finished.
Oh no!
It seems like, it seems like maybe it is a little difficult if you're doing the kind of work he's interested in. I think Prison School is the only one that reached the end of its run successfully.
Well, if you can make one good thing.
I like Raw Hero and I like Futari Switch and I like the one I just read, which like those two is unfinished, is called Superball Girls. Now, when I say Superball Girls, what do you think? What does that conjure in your mind?
I can't say that on here, can I?
Whatever you're imagining, it's much worse than that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
How could it be much worse than that?
Superball Girls is a comic by Hiramoto Akira and Kaneshiro Muneyuki, who I believe is the one kind of bringing a slightly different flavor to it. Most of those other works are like straight up comedies. This one goes in some different directions as it continues along. We're all familiar with the magical girlfriend genre of anime, right?
Magical girlfriend. Now
I'm talking about the the oh my goddesses.
Oh, sure. Yes.
The Tenchi Muyos, the Urusei Yatsuras.
Yes.
The Chobitses. What's another good one?
The elfin leads.
Yeah, she's not magical, but like Ayoriyoshi, right?
Sure. I mean, that's just a girlfriend. Like, she's not magical at all.
She's not magical, but like she does show up out of nowhere.
She's not a goddess.
How dare take that back? Take that back right now.
No, if you want a contemporary poll, then we can look to this season's Tying the Knot with an Amagami Sister, which does have a supernatural mythical element to it, turns out.
Sure. Well, there has been a couple like shows in a row where it's like I moved into a place and the neighbor is a super hot chick who wants to date me.
Oh, what was that show I was watching last season? Astro House?
Yes, whatever that was called.
Yeah, whatever that was called. That was about a alien girlfriend. Kind of the same thing.
Yes, and there was the Guardian Angel one the season before that where the girl next door is literally an angel. And she's all into him. So there's a lot of these. And Superball Girls is, and again, it's such a banal way to describe these things. I wish there was a better term I could think of, but my brain is atrophied after reading this manga, so I don't know. It's like sort of I guess, deconstruction, a challenge, if you will, to that style of anime and manga. It begins with your typical character of these kinds of things. He is a disillusioned chocolate factory line worker. He picks out damaged chocolates on the factory line. He does that for 8 hours a day.
Is he allowed to eat them?
He is allowed to take some of the broken ones home with him.
Hey, Homer, you want a bag of irregular Oreos?
It really is the irregular Oreos. So you know what? It's probably better than the American factory lines, I have to say. I've never heard of somebody being able to take defective product back home with them around here. So I guess in that way, he's definitely blessed.
No, I feel like maybe there was one too many lawsuits of stuff going wrong for that to continue happening. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying stuff happened. That's all.
Yeah. He is kind of at his wit's end. He has no hobbies. He doesn't really have any friends. He's got no girlfriend, right?
So relatable.
He's like mid-20s, cruising into his 30s with like nothing going on in his life. And his work buddy kind of kicks off a series of events in his life by he's eating lunch with him one day, and he basically turns to his friend and he's like, hey, both of our lives are complete fucking shit. We either have to do something or just like kill ourselves. And our main character's like, that's a little harsh. He's like, well, check this out. I'm betting my entire life savings at the track tomorrow. It's go time.
YOLO, roll the bones.
Yeah. And our American, he kind of ruminates on this because he's like, that is bad. That seems really bad.
That's a dumb thing
to do.
That's a dumb thing to do.
Yeah, but then later on, he's sitting in his apartment eating his defective chocolates in his bed, watching the same fucking like Splatterhouse zombie movie that he watches every single day, going like, man, I hate my life. This fucking sucks. So, we have a very typical main character here, right? And then the next day, his work buddy comes into work and goes, I've lost all my money, and not only that, I am now in debt. And he goes psycho. He destroys the factory. He starts throwing shit around. He busts up the chocolate machine.
No, not the chocolate machine.
Yeah. And this terrifies main character because he's like, oh, that's what's going to happen to me. Oh, man.
I'm just gonna go crazy and start thrashing. That's his fear.
Yeah, I might just go crazy and start thrashing. And this seems like a bad end. So he's walking home and just contemplating this when a super ball comes out of nowhere, and he manages to catch it midair, and he thinks it's kind of fun. It's like maybe this is like a kind of omen, perhaps.
Wait, now when you say a super ball, what do you mean a super ball?
I mean a small, bouncy ball made of super dense plastic or, rubber that is very bouncy. You know the kind.
Okay, so just a bouncy ball.
A bouncy ball. A super ball.
I've never heard them referred to as super balls.
You've never heard them referred to as super balls. We used to call them super balls.
No, you made that up.
No, we definitely played with super balls. I think it might have even been a brand name at some point.
All right, we're getting hung up on the balls. What happens to this guy?
He takes the ball home and what do you know? A magical girlfriend pops out of it. Well, not necessarily pops out. It he throws it and it morphs into a magical girlfriend.
Oh, hell yeah. All right.
Yeah, she is naked.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
Cannot speak English or Japanese or any language. And she, let's say, enthusiastically starts making out with our main character. And he's like, holy shit, my life just changed. Damn, this is so great.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Wait a second. Maybe this is weird. Oh shit, wait, hold on a second. Maybe this is actually weird.
Maybe this is hell.
I don't know actually, now that this is like a real thing that's actually happening to me and like not in my fantasy imagination, maybe this is actually weird. And before he can even comprehend that, this magical girlfriend rears back and 3 more power balls shoot out of her back. They like grow like tumors and explode out of her.
Like gremlins.
Yes, like gremlins.
Like exactly like gremlins.
Like exactly like gremlins. And the 3 more girls pop out of these balls.
Well, he should have listened to the old Chinese man. You're not supposed to fuck him after midnight.
Look, this guy is not well versed in magic, okay? He's worked at a chocolate factory all his entire adult life. He hasn't got a lot of worldly experience with magical girls. These 3 magical girls almost immediately begin to try making out with him, much like the first one, which enrages the first girl, who begins beating them to death.
This is escalating into weird places I was not expecting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I am just laying the groundwork for what comes later. I cannot understate how fucking intense this gets. She annihilates the bodies of these 3 girls, ripping them limb from limb, destroying their heads. It's gore everywhere. Luckily for everybody involved, they're immortal, so they do regrow their bodies. To the absolute horror of our main character, the reality is beginning to sink in that something very, very bad has happened to him.
Yeah. This is, I don't know. Maybe he wants to call the police or a doctor or somebody.
I need to call the police or a doctor.
He's in a jam. Yeah. I need an adult.
Yeah, he does almost immediately go, oh, wait, hold on a second. Is there something I could do about this? And he comes to the conclusion very quickly that no matter what he does, things are only going to get worse. His life is about to get very, very bad.
I would just run away. I would just run away from my apartment at that point.
When he tries to run away, not run away, the first time he tries to leave the apartment without the girls, he spends a couple days with them, kind of feeling it out. Turns out that they learn very quickly. So they all start immediately developing personalities and kind of very basic understanding of language and like the situation they're in. And the first time he tries to go shopping because he's run out of food. He's a single man in a single room apartment on a chocolate factory budget. He's feeding 4 surprise guests for a week straight. He's gone. He's tapped out.
And he can't feed them chocolate?
Well, it's funny you say that because he does try to feed one of them chocolate. And when he puts the chocolate in her mouth, her jaw melts off and she starts screaming in pain.
Whoa.
I'm glad you brought that back up because this turns out to be a very big plot point.
Does all chocolate do this?
Chocolate melts their flesh. All chocolate melts their flesh. They turn into flesh goo.
But he works at a chocolate factory.
Yeah, seems bad. Seems bad.
This is like somebody had a fever while watching that episode of I Love Lucy and just took the wrong idea from it.
I could not stop thinking about I Love Lucy the entire first issue. It was constantly in my mind. Yeah, Lucy, magical girlfriend.
Yeah, the first magical girlfriend.
Yeah.
Her magic power was having a Puerto Rican husband.
Well, would you believe me if I told you this escalates to essentially a world-threatening, all-out war between immortal, extraordinarily strong Superball girls who can breed is not the right word.
multiply
exponentially from making out. This gets insanely dark very, very quickly. And I liked it. It's not done publishing. It might never be done publishing because, again, all Hiromoto Akira's work all gets canceled. And frankly,
for good reason.
Where I read up to is like truly fucking grim. I don't know if it can hold on to an audience.
Okay, what do you think his message is here? What is his statement he's trying to make when he says making out with strange women will make them reproduce and ruin your life?
Well, I think it begins with, and like all his other works, and this one is co-written, so there is another person coming in here with their ideas. But I think, like most of his other works, he's trying to think of a kind of a typical popular anime manga genre and playing it out in the way that he finds most amusing. I that's the sense I get from his other works. You know, Futari Switch is a body swap comedy. Raw Hero is a Sentai parody. Prison School is a prison break comedy, I guess,
but also school.
Also school. And this is a magical girlfriend kind of spoof. You know, it makes it very clear in the first issue that our main character is like, man, that whole like magical girlfriend thing sounds awesome. I wish that would happen to me, but like that kind of stuff doesn't happen, and it makes me feel.
There are many reasons why it shouldn't happen to you.
Well, yeah, clearly, you know, and to his credit, he does go like, yeah, it's, you know, that kind of thing doesn't happen, and I kind of feel childish, like even fantasizing about that because it's kind of a stupid thing anyway. But like my life sucks, so I don't know. This is the only thing that can sustain myself is like my daydreaming. He's that kind of guy. And then everything goes sideways in an extraordinary fashion, in a way that somebody who has put a lot of thought into the magical girlfriend subgenre would maybe find amusing. It is intense. I like it. But it is still funny. Like there's still a lot of funny stuff in it, but it is not a comedy like Akira's other works. It is gruesome. I
mean, does it get into real, like, gory detail with the art? Is it, like, splatter gore stuff?
These women are annihilating each other and other people very much on screen. We're talking about decapitations, removing limbs by hand, human beings melting into puddles of flesh. It's fucking intense. And the weirdest part is, again, like all of Akira's works, it's also insanely horny. So it's mixing the horniness into the extreme grimness of the story and the explosive violence.
You're not supposed to cross the streams like that.
It creates a very strange dynamic that I think it makes you uncomfortable. I think the intention is to make you uncomfortable in a very specific way. But again, Akira draws everything like this, so I think it's just like this is how I like to make manga, so it's just going to look like this.
Well, I mean, it sounds like, to me, this sounds like it was almost tailor-made for your taste in particular, because you like that weird, like, pervert horror shit. That's like your jam.
What are you saying? Hold on, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, everyone has their own preferences and their different tastes, and you like weird, perverted, like disturbing stuff that normal people would find like upsetting. But for you, it makes you feel kind of like weird, like you did in middle school, and so you embrace it. I think that's cool. I think that's a cool quality of you. Well, I'm trying to give you a compliment here.
After all these years of manga, you really become desensitized to the regular stuff. You got to keep going. You got to push until you find the extremes. You know. Such are the dangers of reading so much manga. Man, it's intense. this is one of those things. It's sort of like I've talked about, I think, what's his name? Matsumoto Jiro a few different times. Do you remember his name? Is that familiar to you?
You're gonna have to put a title out there. I very rarely remember specific authors.
They're just in one ear, out another. It's just Fujimoto, and that's it.
It's just Fujimoto and Akira Toriyama, but he's dead now, so just Fujimoto.
Fujimoto and the rest.
I'm going to start referring to just anime in general as a Dragon Ball Z, kind of like our parents used to call like consoles Nintendos.
Yeah.
It's like, oh hey, you watch that new Dragon Ball Z?
You watch that Dragon Ball?
You watch that new Dragon Ball?
There's a very high chance if you just ask that randomly to strangers, they will say yes. That's how much it is out there.
You gotta generalize it more. You're like, hey, I was just watching this Dragon Ball Z about like a girl who turned into, you know, a witch and she fights a guy with a machine gun arm. That's my favorite Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Super. Yeah. Matsumoto Jiro is the one who did Jigoku no Alice, which I talked about a lot because I really liked it. Alice in Hell.
Yeah, Alice in Hell. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yes, and he also does like a bunch of different stuff, but the other one I was reading is called Joshi Kohai. Joshi Kohai. Kohai? Joshi Kohai?
My younger female associate.
I don't know.
Single young woman.
Joshi Kohei?
Is it AI or EI?
EI.
Then it's Kohei.
Kohei. I don't speak the language, people. I'm sorry. That's the one about
You're reading it in English.
There's sort of like a conjunction of the spheres and like these like different dimensions collapse in on each other, and the military starts using giant mechs to fight each other, except the giant mechs are schoolgirls. So they climb into the back of giant schoolgirls' heads and pilot them.
Oh, like the little fat-headed alien from Men in Black.
Yeah. Except the schoolgirls aren't supposed to be like disguises, right? They are very specifically fighting machines.
Okay. This is just Ava, but instead of robots, they're just girls.
Yeah, it's so much better than Ava. It's so much better. It fucking rules. As the pilots aren't allowed to work for more than a couple years because the more time you spend in the girls, the more your mind breaks and you start becoming a Japanese high school girl.
Oh man, did you watch Possessor?
Yeah, Possessor fucking rules. Possessor's great.
Same rules. Same rules.
Pretty much, yeah.
They're going on Possessor rules.
And when you spend too much time in the machine, you will break. But Matsumoto Jiro is another person who writes really interesting stuff, really out there, weird stuff, has a very specific viewpoint, has a very unique art style, and is also like impossible to divorce his horniness from the work. But it's not, I don't know, it's not high school DxD type horniness. It is something else, you know? It's not eye candy. It's not pinup. It's not etchy.
This man is horny in new and exciting ways we've never seen before.
It is psychosexual. I think that's the only way I can describe it. And I think Hiramoto Akira's work is similarly psychosexual. It is not simply etchy or arrow shit. It is so beyond that. There is psychology happening.
You're getting the look into the mind of a guy operating on horny levels that we cannot begin to comprehend.
Yes, there are comics that do kind of similar spaces. I don't know if you remember us talking about Kiss Dead, which I like a lot too. It's like kind of a fun like alien invasion kind of action comedy where the aliens are parasites that attach themselves to human tongues, and and
they have to kiss fight with each other. Yeah,
the alien hero has to kiss fight, which is very funny. And that one is a little horny. Like, it's definitely more of your standard, like, haha, look, it's like when the girls fight, sometimes like their like shirts get ripped up, like that kind of thing. And when I talk about Matsumoto Jiro or Hiromoto Akira, it is not that.
It is the impression of like, I understand that somebody is incredibly turned on by this drawing, but I cannot pinpoint the exact reasons why.
It is somebody expressing themselves to the detriment of their own career, possibly. Let's say like that style.
Hey, Matsumoto Sensei, you shouldn't be putting this on the page.
Hey, can you not do that, please? He's like, no.
Hey, you realize people are going to see this with their eyes and read it, right? And you're okay with that. You want them to know this about you.
Yeah. And I think in that way, it makes me respect it more than a lot of manga that just puts girls in their underwear because that sells manga. Which, you know, as much as I love Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan does that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to sell pages. You got to push volumes.
You got to push cardboard.
That said, I agree. I 100% support the mindset of being completely uncompromising in presenting yourself to the audience. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put up as many walls as possible between me and you, the listener. But I respect Jiro Matsumoto from your description for being this uncompromisingly horny about the things that he wants to make.
Yes, and I exactly the same with Hiromoto Akira. Like, the dude he knows what he likes, he knows what he wants, and he does it in a way that you can't be like, you can't laugh it off. You can't be like, oh, you. He is like, no, check this shit out. It's like,
and you're like, I
blatant.
need to go home. I've got stuff to do.
I don't think I should be seeing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to go talk to my therapist, tell my parents about this.
Yeah.
I need some time to decompress.
And I know we shit talk a lot of that stuff a lot of times, and I still feel very justified in doing so. But like we've said in the past,
you do shit talk therapy quite a bit.
I do. Yes, exactly. That's what I meant. But we have discussed a lot in the past. The psychology, right, is like all artists they're horny. Like, that's the point.
Oh, that's putting it lightly. Artists are horrible, degenerate perverts, and the only thing keeping them back is a healthy sense of shame.
When they get back, when they cut through the barriers of those kinds of things, when they look back, when they cut through the barriers, they produce art like this, which is stuff that I not only tolerate, I think I welcome. You know, it's like even though it's the stuff that I've complained about a lot, it reminds me more of, and I don't want to make an exact comparison because that would be diminishing my own credibility. But are you familiar with like the painting, the Liberty Leading the People, the French Revolutionary painting?
Sure.
It's
yes.
the woman with the titty out. It's sort of like that. It's like, even in that, you got to get a titty out there. It's like this is like a politically consequential painting, but you got to get a titty in there. And look, I know the idea is like it's symbolic, right? It's a maternal thing. It's like the mother of the revolution, the mother of France.
It's also good marketing.
It's all that stuff. But also at the same time, that painter was like, I'm getting a titty in here.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Hey, model lady, take your titty out. I don't want to draw it.
Hey, this painting needs a titty. And somebody's like, no, it doesn't. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, seriously, I'm getting one in there.
No, think about it. Like, listen, let me put the titty in there, and then we can decide whether you think it's better with or without.
Let me paint the whole painting.
Yeah.
and then we can talk about it.
Hey, you can always draw on clothes. You can't draw off clothes, all right?
Yeah, no, it's impossible to do that. It's impossible to draw off clothes. Everybody knows that. This is the artist's dilemma.
Yep.
So I don't know. There are times when I feel like maybe the distinction, this is hard to talk through, but maybe the distinction is that I feel like in Dan to Dan's case, and on a lot of these things, it is being deployed very cynically. Maybe that's it. in that you can feel the touch of a marketer being like, look, teenage boys, they want to see Miss ISA. They want to see ISA-san in her underwear.
Well,
they want to see Ira in her underwear, like, you know, at least once every few chapters. Like, we need to keep the interest up in your manga. So can you just give us that, please?
You know, I think what makes it feel bad and cynical like that is that it is something that could be used as symbolism, you know, and it's hollow in that sense. It's just hollow imagery meant to titillate, and that is, I think, what kind of is setting off your alarms about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's doing the unnecessary like panty shot thing. It is exactly the panty shot thing. Like, here we go. We're just gonna take a regular scene that's kind of boring, and we'll spice it up and keep the entertainment, the viewer's interest, because we'll shoot it from a low angle so you can get a tease of panty. And it's like, whatever. But when like Hiromoto Akira does it, this dude is like, he is sweating furiously, and he is like, what do they call that when your pencil is drawing itself, right?
Oh, recursive.
Is that like called auto writing?
So yeah, something like that.
Automatic writing, psychography, right? It's like he's like, I can't not do this. It's just happening. It's just coming out. Like that is the difference. Is like this dude, he can't not do it. He's putting his
ghostwriting. He becomes possessed by the spirit of the story.
Sure, yeah. I think ghostwriting is a different thing, but whatever. I think that is the distinction for me, and that's why, even though sometimes it gets very uncomfortable, I can tolerate it more than the other way around. Have we talked about naked anime girls enough? I think we went real long. Maybe we should call it.
All right. Yeah, let's call it here.
How many times do we have to talk about naked anime girls on this show?
It's an anime show. We have to talk about them literally as often as they pop up, which is every episode.
We can't get away from it.
If I could get away from it, I would. But this is the industry we've chosen and the media we've selected to represent. So let's just try and have a good time while we're here, I suppose. Despite all of these naked anime girls.
It's either that or we just endlessly watch like Pokemon Johto League. It's like those are the only options we have.
Oh, I do need to do a rewatch of Johto League.
Oh, come on, man.
Actually, I'm going to go start that up right now. I'm going to go watch Pokemon right now.
All right. We love you, handsome and beautiful listeners. We are taking off. Please listen to this episode and then the other ones, except for maybe the first one. Don't listen to those first few.
Like no one.
I would really appreciate liking and subscribing, maybe even commenting on Blue Sky or other words. We've got the YouTube channel. We've got the TikTok.
Hey, we're on Blue Sky. Everybody's on Blue Sky now, right?
Everybody's on Blue Sky now. Everybody went over to Blue Sky. I know you're over there. So, I know the posts are bad. Sorry, the show is bad and the posts are bad. I would still asking you for the support. It's still compulsory. I'm sorry. You have to do it. I'm telling you to do it right now. Listen to the sound of my voice. Engage with the podcast. Oh, God damn it. I hate doing
all
that.
Right. You're making him desperate. Let's say goodbye for today, handsome, beautiful listeners. Do all that stuff you just said, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Slice of life, Maho Shoujo, Isekai, Yaoi, Yuri, Harem, Ecchi, and Idol. That's it. That's anime.